Greetings, this is Jeff Chorpenning. It's January 29th, 2014. Several days ago, I put in a record request for a copy of the audio from the December 10th, 2013 Records and Retentions meeting. This is a meeting that is by law supposed to be held by the Township Fiscal Officer and the Township Board of Trustees President at minimum annually. I've been informed that that record request that I asked for does not exist. Apparently the meeting was not recorded by the fiscal officer or anyone. At last night's attempt to have our first board meeting for the year, new President Danny Van Buren was a no-show, and Vice President Benjamin Hupp was also a no-show. The fiscal officer was there, and she did provide me with a copy of her written meeting minutes from the December 10th meeting. So I'm going to put those up here. That's the only way that I know to get it to the public, is to read it. Here, it's very short. Record of proceedings, Bowling Green Township, held December 10th, 2013. Bowling Green Township Board of Trustees opened this records retention meeting at 8 a.m. With roll call, Trustee Hupp and Fiscal Officer were present. There were no visitors in attendance. There was a question about changing the records retention policy since there has been a new recording device purchased by the township. Fiscal officer stated there is no need to change this in the retention policy because it doesn't state what type of recording. It states that recordings will be retained for 1 year, provided minutes complete and approved, then reuse or destroy. Fiscal officer did not feel anything else needed to be changed. Trustee Hupp and Fiscal Officer Duvall discussed a better way to store the records instead of in the attic. They will look into bringing them down to put in the closet off the meeting room. Fiscal officer will purchase more totes to better protect the records. Meeting was adjourned at 8:20 a.m. Now I'd like to go ahead and make some comments on this. We'll just turn this into a little commentary here. These meeting minutes start out by saying the Bowling Green Township Board of Trustees opened this records and retentions meeting, which is actually not accurate. Again, this is a meeting that is by law to be held at least annually by the Board of Trustees President and the Fiscal Officer, not by the Board of Trustees. The first thing here it mentions is that there was a question about changing the records and retention policy since there was a purchase by the Fiscal Officer of a new recording device. That was myself that had asked her about this at a prior meeting. She states there's no need to change this, but in fact there is. On our policy, I believe we are currently charging a fee, maybe $1.50, for a copy of a cassette tape. Well, now that we are using a different format, it's no longer a cassette tape. So the Records and Retentions Committee, made up of the President, who is now President Van Buren, starting January of this year, of 2014, and the Fiscal Officer. In fact, if somebody requests a audio of any meeting, it would not be on a cassette. It would probably be on like a CD or DVD or something like that. And the cost of those is probably not the same as the cost of a cassette tape. The township needs to review this and set the appropriate amount of the actual cost of making a copy of that record to provide to anyone that requests it. So I respectfully disagree with the fiscal officer's stance on this particular matter. Now, if memory serves me right, on recent years of records and retentions meetings, I have been in attendance of some of those. Some of those have not been held. I believe it was in 2011, President Van Buren and Fiscal Officer Duvall failed to have this meeting in accordance with the law. I believe Mr. Van Buren, when I questioned it, asked me if I was happy. Well, certainly not, because I want to see our township and its officials succeed and be following the laws that we've all sworn into office to follow. And then also in 2012, then President Hupp, I believe it was, and the fiscal officer, second year in a row, failed to hold this meeting. The fiscal officer, if I recall properly's comment at a meeting, when asked about this, her response was that they didn't get around to it. Well, I'm glad to hear in 2013 they did get around to it on December 10th for this 20-minute meeting. So that's my commentary for today. And as I get other records, I will also bring them to you